This is the AI Executive Brief, and I'm Stephen Forte, the USB port of AI. Today, we'll talk about MCP, Model Context Protocol, what it is, why it went from zero to industry standard in 12 months, and why it might be the most important piece of AI infrastructure you haven't heard of yet. All right, let me take you back. It's 1998. You just bought a new printer. You've got a parallel port cable, a serial port cable, maybe a proprietary connector that only works with one brand. You're crawling under your desk, swearing, trying to figure out which port goes where. And then USB shows up. One port, one standard. Everything just connects. That is what's happening right now in AI. And the standard making it happen is called MCP. So what is MCP exactly? Model Context Protocol. Anthropic released it as an open standard in November 2024. And the official documentation, this isn't my analogy, this is theirs, says, quote, think of MCP like a USB-C port for AI applications, end quote. Here's the problem it solves. Right now, if you want your AI, whether it's Claude, ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, to actually do something useful inside your company, it needs to connect to your systems. Your CRM, your ERP, your ticketing system, your data warehouse, your calendar. And before MCP, every single one of those connections required custom code, a bespoke integration hand-built by engineers. Now do the math. Say you've got 20 systems you want AI to work with. Without a standard, you could need up to 190 individual integrations. BCG actually studied this, and they found integration complexity rises quadratically, which is a fancy way of saying it becomes a nightmare fast. MCP flips that. Instead of 190 custom connections, you write one connector per system. Any AI model can use it. Integration complexity goes from exponential and linear. That's not incremental improvement. That's a fundamentally different economics of AI deployment. Let me explain the architecture in plain English because I think this is worth understanding. There are three pieces. First, the host, that's your AI application, Claude, ChatGPT, Copilot, whatever you're using. Second, the client. Think of this as the interface layer, the translator sitting between the AI and the outside world. Third, the server. This is where the magic happens. The MCP server connects to an actual tool or data source, your Salesforce instance, your Jira board, your internal database. So the AI says, I need the latest pipeline numbers. The client routes that request to the right MCP server. The server talks to Salesforce through its existing API, pulls the data, and hands it back. Formatted, structured, ready for the AI to reason about. And here's the critical point. MCP is not replacing your APIs. Your APIs are still the backbone. MCP is a standardized wrapper that makes those APIs readable and usable by AI agents. It's the difference between having a library full of books and having a librarian who knows where everything is. Now, is this actually catching on, or is it just another protocol that sounds good on a whiteboard? Let's look at the numbers. 97 million monthly SDK downloads, up from 100,000 at launch. That's 970x growth in 12 months. There are over 10,000 active public MCP servers in production right now, more than 300 MCP clients consuming those services. OpenAI adopted it March 2025, Google DeepMind April 2025, Microsoft across Copilot, Azure, and VS Code May 2025. And then in December 2025, Anthropic donated the entire protocol to the Linux Foundation's Agentic AI Foundation, co-founded with OpenAI and Block, backed by Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Cloudflare, and Bloomberg. To put the speed in perspective, it took OpenAPI 5 years to become an industry standard. OAuth 2.0 took 4 years. MCP did it in roughly 12 months. Gartner now projects 40% of enterprise applications will feature task-specific AI agents by the end of 2026. MCP is the connective tissue making that possible. And it's accelerating right now, this month, March 2026. People.ai just launched MCP integration for its Sales AI platform, connecting AI agents directly to CRM data. Red Hat's VP said, and I'm quoting, MCP is facilitating our transition from isolated solutions to composable AI infrastructure, boosting win rates by over 50%. Google Chrome previewed something called WebMCP in Chrome 146. This is a proposed web standard where websites expose structured tools for AI agents. Instead of an agent trying to find the book flight button on a web page and click it, which is fragile and slow, it calls a book flight function directly with parameters. That's a huge shift. It turns the entire web into something AI agents can interact with natively. Microsoft is integrating MCP into SAP, ServiceNow, and Salesforce through its Azure Agent framework. Box's Ben Koos described it as a well-designed highway for AI and data. The more companies adopt, the more interoperable agents become. A virtuous cycle. CIO.com ran a piece in February saying MCP is suddenly on every executive agenda. At the RSA Conference 2026, submissions were heavily focused on MCP. Researchers there called it, again, the USB-C of AI. So what? Why should you as a CEO actually care? Because this is what takes AI from smart chatbot to an agent that can actually do things inside your business. Pull reports, update records, file tickets, trigger workflows, book meetings, not because someone built a custom integration for each of those tasks, but because there's now a standard protocol that lets any AI model talk to any system that has an MCP server. And here's the part I think matters most for the C-suite. MCP means you're not locked into one AI vendor. Your MCP servers work with Claude. They work with ChatGPT. They work with Copilot. They work with Gemini, or whatever comes next. The AI model becomes swappable. Your data connections persist. It's the enterprise equivalent of, you don't throw away your USB peripherals when you get a new laptop. CIO.com put it well. MCP solves two critical aspects of agent AI. It creates a standardized way to share data with an LLM, and it creates a standard way of having an LLM act on behalf of the current user. Now, I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't mention security. Every MCP connection is a door into your systems, and right now only about 24% of organizations have full visibility into AI agent communications. There are known attack vectors, tool poisoning, supply chain risks, vulnerabilities already published. This is real. But the answer is not to avoid MCP. The answer is to govern it. Companies like SurePath AI and Cisco are already building policy controls and defense layers specifically for the MCP layer. Think of it the way you think about cloud adoption 10 years ago. The risk wasn't in using the cloud, it was in using it without governance. One more thing worth knowing, the 2026 MCP roadmap was published this month by the lead maintainer. Enterprise readiness is one of 4 top priorities. They're addressing audit trails, enterprise managed authentication, moving past static secrets toward SSO, gateway patterns, and configuration portability. And they've explicitly invited companies hitting walls to join an enterprise working group and help shape the standard. This is still early enough that you can influence it. All right, Monday morning, what do you actually do with this? First, ask your CTO or CIO a simple question. Where are we on MCP? If they light up, great. If they look confused, that's your signal. Second, take inventory of the systems where AI integration would create the most value. Your CRM, your support platform, your internal knowledge base. Then ask, do any of these already have MCP servers available? You might be surprised. With over 10,000 in production, many major platforms already do. Third, start with one connection. One MCP server, one use case. Let your team see what it feels like when AI can actually reach into a live system and do something useful. That first experience changes the conversation from theoretical to visceral. And fourth, think about governance from day one. Don't let MCP connections proliferate without a policy for what gets connected, who authorizes it, and how you audit it. The companies that treat MCP as plumbing, boring, invisible, essential, are the ones that will have AI actually working across their enterprise by the end of this year. The rest will still be stuck in pilot mode, wondering why the chatbot can't do anything useful. That is the AI Executive Brief for Wednesday, March 25th, 2026. I am Stephen Forte. If this was useful, share it with someone who needs to hear it. I will be back Thursday with more. Until then, stay sharp.